Ministry for Extraordinary Maritime Engineering, Chief Dieter's personal logs. The Admiral in command of our Navy is an idiot. He's using our technologically advanced ships all wrong. Our battlecruiser was meant to be used at range, torpedo from afar and then disengage, but what does this Admiral do? He uses the extreme speed of the ship to rush another battlecruiser. Sure, it worked, but only because of the heavy torpedo broadside of the Rion J-class ships. The Admiral wasn't so lucky when it came to an encounter of the other battlecruiser. He managed to have the battlecruiser catch a volley of torpedoes almost broadside on. This led to catastrophic yet survivable damage. The Admiral decided, however, that since the ship was too heavily damaged and needed too many repairs, that scrapping was the better option. Scrapping? He just scrapped such an engineering marvel. Does this barbarian not understand how much work it took to create this design? Fortunately, I have created several more designs that could prove useful in the war. If budget permits, we shall build one of each class to test the combat effectiveness of these ships. But, since Germany is currently under blockade because of the terrible strategy of the Admiral, I doubt we'll be seeing any of my other outstanding designs in action. It's outrageous. Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to episode 6 of the Germany meme campaign. I was planning on starting this episode off with having a look at some more of Dieter's designs. However, the British have other plans. We have entered hostile waters and have picked up a British battle group. The Mackenzie, V14, 18, 6 and 8 have encountered the HMS Antrim, Powerful, Magician, Nottingham, Nottingham and Penelope. We have seen that these ships combined can do a lot of torpedo damage. So once again, we're going to have to hope for the, well, the headshot solution of the battleship. The enemy's to the northwest. That's where the Mackenzie's going to go. We're going to slow her right down. I'm going to keep the destroyers in a normal formation. And I'm going to try and have them either pitch in with their torpedoes or be useful as scouts. Because we need to figure out where the enemy is. Sadly, I do believe that the Mackenzie is, well, not really going to need the assistance of the destroyers. Since the destroyers are worse at spotting than the Mackenzie is. Let's see, we should have a radar return. Where are your British warships? Let's follow the line, because we also have RDF, right? Yeah, there. There. Okay, that's where the DDs are going to go. Yep. Oh, they're all okay. They're traveling in the opposite direction. Understood. Load the high explosive and start destroying these ships. I am a bit disappointed to see that it is once again most likely going to be the battleship that deals the most damage. I was hoping that this campaign was going to be a bit more balanced in the way that we deal damage. But the rate at which we're crippling these ships with battleships leaves very little room for other ships to do work. And sadly, much to Dieter's dismay, the battlecruiser or battle destroyer design didn't really pan out. So it's a ship that we will not be seeing again, as both of the designs have been scrapped. And building a new one, in our current state of being blockaded, is not likely to happen. Now, this is probably going to take a little bit of time, so I will save you the wait. A little while later, we are in definite contact with the enemy. I have the light cruisers at a range of a mere 8 to 9 kilometers of the rest of the group. The current lead is the V6. I had set the DDs to screening force, and this way I'm hoping to spot torpedoes a little earlier. So the more warning I get, the better it'll be. I'm keeping the Mackenzie on a very gentle turn to try and throw off torpedoes, well, sort of organically, if you will. And at the same time, I'm using the destroyers to spot them as best I can. But Hydro 3, not really going to do that much. Now, the Mackenzie with her 18-inch guns is eager for blood. And I'm hoping that I can get one shot to deal severe damage, flooding the ship, knocking out engines, and then making it very easy to destroy a light cruiser. We're going to keep the V6 to follow the battleship so that I know it'll be whoa, eventually ready. Mackenzie, you're going to have to turn that way. See, the V8 didn't really get a warning there. Yeah, I did get... Holy shit now. I did get a warning. Boys, this is going to get pretty uncomfortable. The V14 is going to have to squeeze there. The V18 might survive. The key player here is the battleship. Back up to flanking. Start blowing away these No, not even battleships. Start blowing away these heavy cruisers. We need them dead. Torpedo the Powerful. Might be the last thing you'll ever do. The 18 needs to leave. These destroyers are ridiculously expensive. To, well, fix up, that is. Uh-oh. I'm hoping I can dodge that. Please tell me that the Antrim and Powerful are not going to do something like that again. At least not in the short run. We have torpedoes out against the heavy cruisers. But the 8 is looking pretty bad. I'm hoping... Oh shit, that it'll survive. I really need better ships. Urgently. Dodge. Oh no. Wow, you got lucky there, Mr. 6. You didn't even actively dodge. But good lord. Can we please eliminate the Antrim already? She's a mere 8 kilometers out. She is really not that difficult to hit. And also we had torpedoes here. Yeah, here. I think the lights are... well, they're aware of the threat, and they're making short work of it. AKA, they're dodging. Mackenzie, get some hits in on the Antrim and the Powerful while they're reloading. Because outside of that time, I think you're not going to get a whole lot of opportunity. I need to stop doing this. Mackenzie, turn away. 6, turn away. These boys are, what was it, minus 14%? Minus 45% visibility. Oh, that explains a lot. Okay. Antrim has taken some damage to an engine. So that's going to slow her down from 37 knots, which is going to make it a lot more comfortable to hit her. Whatever, I don't mind if we lose the lights. Outside of engaging a convoy, I'm really not finding these destroyers to be very useful. They're not good for detecting stuff in the form of either an enemy warship or a convoy ship or torpedoes. Their armament is limited at best. They're pretty shit ships. I really need something better. Antrim has detected torpedoes, have you now? These. Like they're a threat. 10.9, we're going to target the Powerful. The Powerful could be turning around to throw more torpedoes my way. Ooh, that was close there. Good shooting by the Mackenzie. There's a Torp. So far the Mackenzie has not taken damage, and I would like to keep it that way. Just with the range and the fairly inexperienced crew that I have, I doubt that I can actually get away with this. Because I might not have enough shells. There's another salvo. Powerful and Antrim. Oh, well, actually, hold on. The Antrim did launch torpedoes. We're going to turn towards the heavy cruisers. Because they're starting to run away. Come here, buddy. We are actually attacking the Powerful, right? Yeah, we hit the Antrim by accident. Twice, it seems. Uh-oh. Oh, fuck. Yeah, Mackenzie got hit. Not that bad. Not that bad. We're okay. I might end up scrapping these DDs or just trying to ignore any encounter that they're not ideally suited for. Like, if they raid a transport, fine. But if they happen to encounter a bunch of heavy cruisers, I am not even going to chance it. But I do need these guys dead, just to knock out some more of their British superiority. That power projection needs to go. Now, let's follow the Mackenzie for a second. She is going through another turn. I'm somewhat hesitant to slow down, considering that these ships are already running away. But with less accuracy, or with less speed, you do create a more stable firing platform for those big 18 inchers. So there is that. Antrim is 15, 16 clicks out. She doesn't look like she's coming back. The alternative is to do some damage to these heavy cruisers, which are pretty expensive, and just call it a day. He torpedoed me again. The rest of the pings are coming from behind the heavy cruisers. So the light cruisers have probably decided to disengage. That's fine. Doesn't mean they're out of the fight, though. Let's see, the Antrim seems to be coming in. Are you? Yeah. Antrim might have recognized that she is not capable of dealing damage with her torpedoes, since she doesn't have any more. And to that end, she's pushing in. Which for a heavy cruiser is a very risky venture against a battleship. Come on, Mackenzie. Show me what you got. Ooh, almost. I like how those 18 inchers really cause a splash when they land. Ah, close, but no hit. Come on. 11 clicks out. 10, 8. This is just a disaster waiting to happen. There you go. That's one hit. Partial pen. For 600 damage. Just imagine what a full pen will do. There's another partial pen. I can load AP. Just to see what that does, but considering I have a 100% chance to pen, I don't think AP is really going to do that much. The chance of over-penning is way too great. I lost my ammo for my 8. 7 kilometers out. No hit. Crap. Nottingham still has torps. Magician still has torps. Come on. Nothing. Not getting hits from the 18-incher, sadly. Come on. That did it. Okay, that's 4 incidents of flooding. And we knocked out 3 engines. Maybe that one hit will flood out the Antrim. Oof. Close. Come on. Once these guys are defanged, once they have lost their torpedoes, they're pretty much useless. Their 8-inch guns sure are dangerous to my destroyers, but against the battleship, they don't really have a play. Now, don't tell me these assholes are going to launch torpedoes at me. No, they're not. Okay. Ah, there we go. We got another good hit. And that ought to be it for the Antrim. Okay, we're very close now. And holy... That was the powerful. Emphasis was, because the powerful is no longer with us. The powerful has been destroyed. Do I really want to stick it out against these lights? The amount of torpedo launchers on these ships concern me greatly. Speaking of, looks like the Magician and the Nottingham have just launched torpedoes. Okay, we're going to turn right in because the torpedoes are traveling in this direction. And that means I don't want to be there. 14.8, 14.5, 14.9. Yeah, let's give the Mackenzie some time to deal damage here. Have you decided to launch? Yeah, you just did. Penelope also launched. Okay. So ideally, when the torpedoes from Magician and Nottingham arrive here, I'm going to turn to starboard because the Penelope is probably targeting here. And I don't like that. I don't want to be there by the time the torps get there. Target the Nottingham. She's closest. Got 180 shells. We need probably 4 hits per cruiser, if that. Let's see, your torps are pretty quick. 47.9 knots. I think it's too early to turn. We can turn gradually, like that. It'll throw off my aim for a bit. But I have confidence in the Mackenzie and her fire control. So we should be able to get a few good hits pretty soon. That's the Nottingham. Nottingham just launched more torpedoes. Lovely. We're gonna turn... I don't know, harder to starboard. There's the torpedo salvo. I'm assuming that came from the Nottingham. Magician just launched more for torps. See, all these light cruisers are starting to run empty. Except for Nottingham. Nottingham still has 15 torpedoes with her. Oh, sorry. So does Penelope. The Magician is the only one that's empty. Huh. Come on, give me one good hit. Penelope just ran out. Oh, of single tubes. Did you? Oh, shit. I overcorrected. I got away with it. But I have a nasty habit of overcorrecting or counter-correcting my own corrections. And then still getting hit by a torpedo later. The torpedo that I was initially trying to dodge. Now, it looks like the Nottingham has also recognized that they've run out of torps. And is pushing in. Effectively as a 6-inch gunboat. That is both daring. Oh, you're stuck. Yeah, you're doing 5 knots. Please tell me we can hit an almost stationary target at 9 kilometers. Otherwise, it'd be a bit of a shameful display. There's the rest of the torpedoes. Go on. 20% chance to hit. I think that poor Nottingham here is stuck as part of the formation bug. Bye-bye. Nottingham's down. Magician 16.5 kilometers out. I have lost the rest of them. Okay. Considering their speed and mine, I'm not going to catch those. Unless they turn around. But they don't really have a good reason to do that. It is very much in their best interest to just run off. Let's see, 16.7. 16.8, 16.9. Fine. We're going to turn away. I'm going to disengage from this fight. Because I believe that we have done quite a lot of damage to the British. And I don't see a way of getting a whole lot more damage done. So this is fine. The Mackenzie performed very well. She took a torpedo. A little bit of 4-inch damage, a little bit of 6-inch, but really most of it was blocked or ricocheted. It's just the torpedo that did some damage. The destroyers cannot say the same. The V8 and the V18 might get scrapped. Because I know that these guys cost 7.5 million. They're not that expensive, but if you get them to go into repairs, good lord. They go from a repair or a maintenance cost of about 3.5 million or so, right to 1.5 million. So 300k to 1.5 million. Thank you very much. I'll pass. Hold on. 18, 18.5. Where's the other ping? There. Are you guys chasing me again? Fine, we'll do one more attempt. As it turned out, the light cruisers were indeed turning to re-engage, which, after a couple of 18-inch shells managed to track down the Magicienne, well, it led to the complete loss of the Magicienne and her well over 1,000 crew members. The Penelope is the last surviving British ship, for now, but that's about to change. Penelope burns up. That is 5 heavy cruisers dead. Sorry, 2 heavy cruisers and 3 light cruisers dead, for the mere price of some damage to my destroyers. So that's a lot of victory points and a little bit of crew lost on my side, but way more on theirs. This... what? Huh. No. Okay, that was a bit fast. The Brits are already asking if I want to do a peace treaty. No. No, thank you. I want to finally have a look at some more of Dieter's designs. I'd like to introduce you to the Minstrel Dock Coastal Light Cruiser. This is a coastal protection cruiser. It displaces 10,000 tons and travels only at 17 knots. Now, it is originally designed to be a ship that only comes at a port or patrols around the ports, but ends up with a 14,000 kilometer range. So it, well, it can go places. As you can see, the armament is a bit unusual. It has a couple of 6-inchers here on the bow, 1 on the superstructure, torpedo launchers similar towards the bow, also towards the stern, and another 6-inch over there. If a couple of destroyers, a light cruiser, or potentially a heavy cruiser decide that it's a good idea to come after our coastal defenses or do some harassment of our transports, then they can expect the greeting of one of these. Now, it was per Minstrel Duck's express request in the comment section that I make these things very survivable. So that's what I did. They have Croup 4 armor and Barbette 2, Anti-Flood 3 and Citadel 5. They have auto-loading turrets, but they're only hydraulic. They don't reload very quickly. But they do have a lot of armor. They get 6-inch all around, including on the superstructure, which means that while they are barely able to catch a destroyer, if they do manage to get a destroyer close and the destroyer opens fire, it's essentially harmless, because the destroyer cannot do anything with its guns. It could do some damage with its torpedoes, but that's what we have Sonar 3 for, and we have a 334 meter turning circle at full speed of 17 knots. If I basically park, I can turn, well, very much on a dime. The downside is that these ships are fairly expensive to build. They cost 25 million, they take 12 months to build, and then they take almost 900,000 per month to maintain. Now, let's say that the enemy has something a little bigger coming in our way. In that case, we get the Kulasek Coastal Defense Schlachtschiff. This is a very lightly armed battleship. But this one does have far less range than the heavy cruiser. Sorry, than the not heavy cruiser, than the Minstrel Duck light cruiser. This one only has a range of 8,000 kilometers, which is still about 8,000 kilometers more than you need to just defend your ports. But hey ho, this is the range that we get. The ship is armed with 2 20-inch guns as well as 2 9-inch guns. Towards the stern, she has some secondary armament in the form of 2 5-inchers per side, but that is it. Because this ship is so slow, and because torpedoes are a risk, I managed to get it to a turning circle of only 279 meters. The ship is pretty heavily armored. It has very high torpedo protection, so that in case that the turning circle as well as the sonar fail, I can still take a torpedo and not immediately sink. The ship has reinforced bulkheads, anti-flood 3, Citadel 5, and a lot of armor. Her 20-inch guns have auto-loaders and are guided by an improved radar rangefinder as well as a stereoscopic 5 rangefinder. Sadly, They have one little, well, detriment to building these. They cost 111 million and they take 26 months to build. That's a bit long. They also cost 3.9 million in maintenance. Now, let me put that into perspective. My battleships currently cost 9 million. So the maintenance cost is really, really good for these ships. But building building a coastal defense battleship is going to take 26 months. And I really doubt that it's going to be worth it. On to something else that Dieter sent me. There was the different design of the coastal barge, but I think it's pretty similar. The last one is the Nally Reverse Nelson class. She has a forward-facing single turret, triple barrel 16-inch. Her main firepower, as you might imagine from the term Reverse Nelson, is on her stern, where she has another 2 triple 16-inch turrets as well as 2 wing 16-inch turrets. This provides a lot of firepower if you turn the ship's stern towards the enemy. If you do that, you can slowly move away at 24 knots and basically wait for the enemy to catch you if they decide that that's a good idea. This is also the problem that I, as the Admiral, see and that Dieter might not recognize. If you have a ship like this and the enemy decides not to chase you, then all of a sudden you're not going to be that effective. If the enemy does chase you, this is potentially one of the best ships that you could be on, because this is a lot of firepower. The ship, again, as usual, pretty heavily protected, but not from torpedoes. The ship does not have a single torpedo belt or torpedo protection installed. She does also not come with reinforced bulkheads. We just have standard bulkheads here. Anti-flood 3 should keep her dry in case that she does take a pen. And these guns are auto-loaders, which means that the super heavy shells that they fire load pretty quickly. But sadly, because I cannot quite... Oh, there we go. I can highlight them. The duos reload in 45 seconds, the triples in 50.9. They do a respectable 863 damage. And between all of these turrets, you can put out 10 shells about every 50 seconds or so. When it comes to armor, they're pretty well rounded, but their aft belt, as you might imagine, is more heavy than their bow belt. They got a fore belt of 6.3, but an aft belt of 8. Price tag? Well, you're going to have to shell out 173 million to build one of these behemoths. And the maintenance cost is 6 million per month. They are not cheap. They take 2,000 crew members. And while their 16-inch guns are impressive against anything a cruiser and up, if a destroyer should come after one of these, I'm going to be in trouble. And that's something that Dieter seemingly has not recognized, because the ship does not have a single secondary gun. So those are the designs that Dieter sent over. Based on how the British are behaving and the fact that they already want a peace treaty, I think we're not going to be running this campaign for nearly long enough to build another ship. But I thought I'd show you guys the designs that Dieter sent over anyways. Now there is another mission here, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do that off screen and just diminish the British a bit further so that we will have more ships than they do. Hopefully we're going to have another battleship on battleship fight, because that's the stuff that I'm interested in. In the meanwhile, I'm going to scrap some of our... Well, no, they're only 1 month. They weren't that effective. No, I'm going to scrap these just to get a bit more cash. There. I mean, my power projection isn't good anyway, so whatever. Anyway, that'll be it for now. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And judging by how it's going, I think the next episode will, sadly, be the end of this series. So join me then, and we're going to finish this one up.